Good morning everyone. So today we'll be discussing biotechnology and medicine. So before we discuss what is the role of biotechnology in medicine, we would be discussing something about what biotechnology is. So biotechnology is basically the use of living organisms or processes to develop products which are useful for red biotechnology. So red biotechnology, it includes production of medicines and pharmaceutical products for treating or diagnosing disorders, or to design some organisms which can manufacture antibiotics and vaccines. Also, it can be used for forensics, for DNA profiling, for paternity testing, for solving some crimes, and it is also being used for gene correction, for gene therapies, so that genetic disorders can be corrected. We have produced some hormones and vaccines out of using these biotechnologies processes, like we have produced human insulin, we have produced some hormones like interferons, steroids, human growth hormones, we are using gene therapy for disease prevention, and we are also developing different vaccines or antibodies against various diseases. So biotechnology can basically be used for 4 things which we will be discussing further, like drug production, pharmacogenomics, gene therapy and genetic testing. So first we will be discussing about what drug production is. So how we are using biotechnology in drug production is that drug production, it is the process in which pharmaceutical products are produced by using your biotechnological techniques. So medicines which are being produced using biotechnology, they can be used for diagnosis, for cure or for disease prevention. So we are using basically medicines we are using for disease diagnosis, for disease cure and for prevention of diseases. And these medicines, they can be produced through genetically engineered enzymes, and genetically engineered enzymes can be produced by your genetic engineered techniques like recombinant DNA technology. So we can use different plants or different animals to produce drugs or to produce medicines which are valuable to human. Like insulin, insulin is being produced from human genes itself, which is known as humulin, and humulin is being used to treat patients with diabetes which have low sugar level in the blood. Similarly, we have interferons. Interferons, they are being used or they are being produced basically from recombinant DNA technology and is being greatly used to treat cancer patients so that their quality of life can be improved. Next, we have your human growth hormone. Human growth hormone is mainly required for those people which are very dwarf or which are very short in height. So for that, human growth hormone injections are being given to the patients so that their height can be increased. Basically, this dwarfism, it is caused due to the deficiency of this particular hormone. So human growth hormone can also be produced from your different biotechnological techniques using recombinant DNA technology. Then we have pharmacogenomics with us. Pharmacogenomics is a upcoming field of biotechnology. Basically, right now what happens is, whenever any patient gets a disease, doctor has a certain medicines prescribed for that particular disease. If suppose a patient suffers from fever, so doctor has 5 different medicines prescribed for fever, but doctor doesn't know which medicine will be applicable or which medicine will affect, which medicine will treat that particular patient. So doctor right now what he is doing is, he is using hit and trial method. He will be giving first medicine. If that medicine doesn't work, he will provide second medicine and then third. So what happens is, by using so many antibiotics, we can get antibiotic resistance. So pharmacogenomics is an upcoming field in which scientists are working upon finding the genetic makeup of that individual, and then medicines can be made according to the genetic makeup of that individual, and or the medicine can be prescribed according to genetic makeup of that individual. Also, pharmacogenomics will help that certain person with the allergies he or she is having. because right now what happens is sometimes we don't know which is a drug for which we are allergic. After that drug is administered, that allergy is recognized. So if we know which is the drug which we are allergic for according to the genetic makeup, so doctor can avoid that particular disease, particular drug, and can prescribe any other medicine according to the genetic makeup of the individual. So pharmacogenomics will basically help in the development of tailor-made medicines, will help to ensure more appropriate methods of determining drug dosages. It will also improve process of drug discovery and approval. It will also help in decreasing the overall cost of healthcare, and it will help in advanced screening for certain diseases. And certain drugs which are right now available are your Herceptin, Gleevec and Tumoricide. So this image basically shows you which is the scenario of today and what scientists are expecting after or around 2050. Right now there are a group of people which means around only 30 to 60% people they respond to a certain drug, whereas rest of them does not respond to that particular drug. But now what scientists want to believe or scientists want to work upon is that 100% response they should get to a certain drug. So for that we are working upon pharmacogenomics, and what scientists are planning is right now, like you have your Aadhaar cards. In Aadhaar card you have a certain, your fingerprint, your eye scan, everything is there in that particular card. You have an individual Aadhaar card for everyone. So similarly you'll have a smart card. Scientists want that every person should have a smart card for himself or herself, in which your each and every genetic makeup will be decided, will be given, and your certain allergies to any drug or whatever disease you had in past and you have taken medicine for that, everything will be covered in this. So this is a type of smart card you will be getting, which scientists want that this should be worked upon. But some barriers or some problems which we face during these particular studies is that we have very limited drug alternatives. Secondly, it is very complex that we can find which is the gene variation which is affecting a drug response, which means that if we are saying there is a certain drug which is affecting, which is treating a group of people but is not affecting other ones, so we need to find that particular gene which is difference, which is mutated, due to which the drug is not being validated or not being used for the other person. Then there is next barrier which we face is that we have to educate your healthcare providers. We have to educate. Right now what doctors believe is that if they have read that there are these 5 medicines for fever, so they will believe that yes, we can only give these 5 medicines. They don't want to educate themselves that yes, you can work upon pharmacogenomics and can prescribe a medicine according to genetic makeup of that individual. Similarly, drug companies also they have disincentives because they'll have to make multiple pharmacogenomic products according to the genetic makeup of the individual. If we want that a drug company should make different drugs for different individuals, it is really a tedious technique and we don't have developed methods for it right now. The next application of biotechnology is gene therapy. Gene therapy is basically a technique, a process in which faulty gene is removed from the individual or it is replaced with a healthy gene and a normal functional gene is added in the patient. So the gene can either be removed, faulty one, or it can be replaced. So gene therapy can mainly be divided into 2 types. One is your somatic cell gene therapy and the other one is germline gene therapy. So somatic cell gene therapy is the one in which your gene correction is done in the somatic cells, whereas germline gene therapy is the one in which gene correction is done in the germ cells. Germ cells means chromosomes. But ethically if we see, so germline gene therapy is not advisable because we can correct a disease in the particular patient, and if we are working upon germline gene therapy, that particular gene correction will be transferred to the progenies also. So that is not ethical. So we only go for somatic cell gene therapy in which the particular gene is corrected and the disease can be cured. So somatic cell gene therapy can also be further divided into augmented gene therapy and targeted gene transfer. Your augmented gene therapy is the one in which your faulty gene isn't knocked out. That means your faulty gene is present in the patient itself and a new functional gene is added along with the faulty gene in that particular patient, whereas targeted gene therapy is the one in which your faulty gene is replaced with the functional gene. So these are some methods by which you can transfer your gene of interest, transfer your functional gene into the patient. It can either be delivered directly using a vector, or it can be either be transferred directly using a vector into the patient itself, or the patient tissue can be excised and the process can be done in lab, and then that tissue can be added again to the patient. Then next is genetic testing. Biotechnology is playing very important role in genetic testing. Genetic testing is that you have to examine patient's DNA molecule so that DNA sequence can be determined. So genetic testing is right now being used in forensic sciences to determine criminals or for paternity testing. Basically what genetic testing is, you isolate whatever there is a suppose there is some crime scene and we have got some sample can be your hair, it can be some blood sample, it can be some semen sample, or it can be saliva also. So what you will be doing is you will isolate DNA from that particular sample, you will cut it into pieces using restriction enzyme. Restriction enzyme is the enzyme which can cut your DNA into different pieces. Then you will run it on gel, and then from that gel you will transfer it on nylon membrane where you will add probe. Probe is basically, you can say, a synthetic 10 to 15 nucleotide base pair sequence which is taken from different individuals which are suspects. So suspected DNA in patient, suspected DNA from suspected person will be isolated and probe will be made out of it. Then that probe will be added to the sample, to the DNA which was initially recovered from the site where crime happened, and whichever probe will combine with the crime scene sample, you will get your particular criminal. Similarly, this technique is also being used for determining paternity tests, for determining some means if there is some individual or there is some kid whose parents are not known, whose parents are there is some dispute in parenting, then it is used for determining paternity, that yes, this is the particular person who is the father or who is the mother of this particular individual. So genetic testing nowadays is used for forensics, for determining sex, for determining newborn screening, and for prenatal diagnostics as well. And if we are using genetic testing, so by the use of it, better drugs can be obtained. It can be used to detect the mutations regarding cystic fibrosis, sickle cell anemia, and various cancers as well. Thank you.